was a yellow flag area around turn 1 and 2. The lights go out and we're away and racing, and it was a very poor start from Phillippi, David Anderson.
It was indeed, and he's going to get mugged by Michael Ammermuller if he's not careful on the run down towards turn 1. And then there's going to be that big, sharp intake of breath to make sure that everybody gets through the corner safely. And trying to fight back, look up on the inside line of Ammermuller. He's squeezed up onto the curb, there's contact. And on the outside line, Earl Bamber, I think, was the casualty. Robert Lucas has got involved as well, but Earl Bamber has gone around, and so too has Ammermuller, and that is disaster for 2 front runners, and a Conrad car embroiled as well.
Well, that was perhaps what we expected to see on the opening lap yesterday, which didn't actually come like that. So a lot of cars into that tight right-hander that is turn 1 here at the Hungaroring, as the cars roar through on this, the first lap of 19 around the Hungaroring circuit. And, well, what a start for Phillippi,
who's yet to have a win, but he's the race leader then now. And Ammermuller we have lost. Also, Engelhardt was the Conrad driver, delayed in all of that. So Ammermuller, Bamber and Engelhardt, 3 front runners, all embroiled. Here you see it again. Eng for the inside, Ammermuller turns in, puts Eng up on the curb. Bamber on the outside is the innocent party because they all bounce into him and turn him round. And Engelhardt, bang, he gets clipped by Ammermuller. And there you can see, spinning off to the left is Engelhardt. So it was that chain reaction. Phillippi, you could say, might have been a bit desperate to go up on the inside line there, but he was virtually fully alongside Ammermuller, who still tried to turn in and take the apex for the corner. And Ola Nielsen's miserable morning continues. He's off the road already.
Oh, that's not gone well for Ola Nielsen, has it? So, as the cars begin to perhaps settle down just a little bit, we're into the final stages of this opening lap then here for race 2 for the Porsche Carrera Cup. We've had 2 races either ends of the day, one in the evening yesterday in the twilight damn near, and the very first showing of these cars quite early on this morning. So right, we complete 1 lap, Phillippi, then it's Eng, then it is Nicky Thiem who has taken advantage of that skirmish at the turn 1, and Nicky Thiem perhaps getting back to his best as one of the Conrad cars here, really moving up the order and diving up the inside. That's Zochling, of course.
Now the top 2 trying to break away. Phillippi, of course, is the man up front, and Philipp Eng, despite that skirmish, has survived. Now we've not yet had any reference to people being investigated as Michel Gatting comes through the pit lane. Maybe that car suffered a bit on the opening lap. There is Engelhardt, who is trying to play catch-up, but he's heading for the pit lane, so he's got damage as a consequence of being tagged. So the championship lead could go back the way of Phillippi. I wonder whether it's suspension damage or maybe a deflating tyre, but he was 2 points up on Phillippi coming into this race. Engelhardt, you're looking at losing his championship lead right now.
So there we see, and
it looks low, that car.
Yeah, it's the rear. Yeah, I think if you look at the rear end.
Yeah, because that left front's just a little bit up in the air, isn't it?
Could see some rubber coming off as he just came into the pit lane as well. But whatever, this has really ruined Christian Engelhardt's race for today.
Tyre off the rim. You saw it as they pull the wheel off, that it was a puncture. It may have suspension damage as well. Franz Conrad's on the radio. New tyre on. Go, go, go. And Engelhardt will stay on the lead lap, which is crucial, because if there's a safety car, he'll get back into the game.
Yes.
I'm still... Oh, hello, what was that all about? As he accelerates down the pit lane, I think that car might have a bit more damage.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
I'm still intrigued as to why nobody has yet been investigated for that accident. It may well come. Light goes green at the end of the pit lane. Engelhardt's allowed into the race, but we lost a bit more time there before
there's something not right with
flick that light. Yeah. It was a big whack. I'd be surprised if it was purely a tyre, and you can see he's only just stayed on the lead lap, because here, at the end of lap 2, come the race leaders, and they're bunching up now, the top 3, because Nicky Thiem has just done the fastest lap of the race, and he's hunting down Philipp Eng. And it was at this corner yesterday that Thiem pulled a great move, and then for 4th and 5th races, look, Muller and Johnston are side by side, and up the inside goes Muller, and he takes the place away. He's up to 4th, but he runs wide.
So Johnston here with a chance on the switchback. Is he going to be able to get right alongside? Look at this. Absolutely side by side as they go into the next turn here at Hungaroring. And this is a real inter-team battle going on.
Absolutely, but Muller hangs onto the pace just. So it's Sven Muller ahead, Sean Johnston behind. In 6th place is Ulsterschleben winner Christopher Zirkling. And then behind him is Clement Schmidt. So there are lots of good little battles developing. But Nicky Thiem is a man on a mission, and Eng runs wide there going through turn 4, and that is a favourite part of the circuit for track limits to be exceeded. And Eng is under pressure, and all of this is playing into the hands of Phillippi.
He's getting away, isn't he?
He's getting away, and of course he's looking, even though he's been a championship leader this year, he's looking for his first win. This could be it.
Yes. we were saying yesterday how the points consistency scoring has really been effective in the championship so far this year. I should also say that just on the opening lap, I said perhaps we're seeing Nicky Tim back to his best. The reason I'm saying back to his best, he had a big crash in a GT Series race at Oschersleben. Of course, Nicky Tim, a very popular driver and drives in a number of things, and really felt that following that accident in Oschersleben, that his driving had been compromised. He wasn't his normal self, but I think we are now beginning to see Nicky Tim back to his aggressive, trying hard, and real 120% effort that we expect from him. And here he is, hounding Eng, isn't he?
Yeah.
So this is where, now Nicky Tim yesterday in the race executed an absolutely perfect turn one move. Let's see if Nicky Tim can do it. I don't think he will this time. I don't think he's quite close enough to it.
2 tenths back as they come over the timing line, but he's going to have a look on the inside. Can he brake late? He thinks about it, looks for the apex, but Phillip Eng has got that covered, and there's somebody else having a huge lock up as well there, diving down towards turn 1. That's Clement Schmidt, isn't it, lower down the order, who survives the experience. We're on to lap number 4. De Phillippi leading by 8 tenths, and he's benefiting because of all the squabbling going on in second spot behind him. Zirkling there, running 6th, taking Schmidt and Riberas with him, and he's trying to make progress. And Mikael Ammermuller is up into 26th place. Wow, 26th, but he is fighting back from virtually dead last after that turn 1 drama.
So there is Zirkling, of course. He's one of those that has had a win this year. He's hounding Sean Johnston at the moment as we see De Phillippi come through. There is Eng, and once again, Nicky Tim is right all over the back of Phillip Eng as they take loads of curb here. Really aggressive driving. Phillip Eng, of course, aggressive in defence because he knows that Nicky Tim is going for it, and they are so close to contact. I mean, both these drivers are very experienced. Nicky Tim doing everything he can, and what he's doing, he's trying desperately to unsettle and to worry Phillip Eng, isn't he? And Eng had a torrid time of it yesterday. His head might not be in a brilliant place today.
And also, Nicky Tim knows that he's got the car speed, and he can see that for as long as he's stuck behind Eng, who has a bit of a wobble at turn 11 there and runs slightly wider, the leader, De Phillippi, is getting away. Tim again has a look on the inside everywhere. He's sticking his nose up the inside. He's getting a bit frustrated now, Nicky Tim, because he can see the leader escaping up the road, and he's got to get on with this. Phillip Eng's car is holding him up, clearly, and Nicky Tim could not be any closer. Out of turn 14 they come. Over the timing line, it was 2 tenths. Last lap through. This lap, it is the same, but Nicky Tim is in the draft now. Can he make this move? Eng defends the inside line, but Nicky Tim tries to go one side and then the other. Wide in, tight out, could be the answer.
Let's see if he can do it then. I don't think so. Don't think he's close enough to be able to do it. What Eng did there, very cleverly, he just covered that inside line, but now Nicky Tim tries to get right alongside, and look at it, weaving so much behind him, just trying to find the space to go through. Eng is just having to do so much to make that car so wide. It's a question of when, not if, isn't it?
Well, it is, but there's always the danger they might tangle if they carry on like this, because Phillip Eng is all over the road, and a little wave there. Now, either that was to say, work with me, or, sorry, I almost chopped you, I'm not sure. But really, at the moment, Phillip Eng is making that car very wide indeed. Okay, yes, he's legitimately defending his place, but he's not doing Nicky Tim any favours because they're losing touch with the race leader. It's a great battle for second, and of course, Eng's teammate, Sven Muller, is there in 4th place, and he's closing up a little bit, and that's exactly what Eng wants, because if Muller arrives on the back of that man Tim, it will distract him, Tim will have to defend, and that takes the pressure off Eng. And Nicky Tim will be aware of that, and he'll see the car coming in his mirrors. He could not get any closer to the back of Phillip Eng, who is looking a bit more ragged than is Nicky Tim, but he's not yet cracked under that pressure.
No, he hasn't, and that's credit to Phillip Eng because he's been under enormous pressure, as you've said. Of course, what that's doing is it's allowing De Phillippi to get up the road, isn't it? A 1.4 second margin he's got. Nicky Tim knows that the sooner he can try and muscle his way past Phillip Eng, then the best chance he will have of trying to do something. As we look at the Project 1 team there on the pit perch, and they're the Q-Pod Racing team, and here is Nicky Tim now. Is he going to try another move at one of the few overtaking opportunity places there are here at this Hungaroring circuit, which is the turn 1, turn 2 section?
Down they head towards turn 1. The lead gap is 2.5 seconds. They're never going to make that up now, even if they do work together, and Nicky Tim can't get up the inside because there's no room. He's got the outside line into the corner. Can he cut across as they head downhill? Even if he gets alongside now, he's on the wrong line for turn 2. So Philipppi's defence is very good indeed. Nicky Team tries to level with him. He's not going to go around the outside. I wouldn't have thought. He wants to duck up the inside. But this constant sequence of corners, left to right to left to right, really makes it hard for Nicky Team to stand his ground on one line and benefit at the next corner.
You're absolutely right. Every corner, you know, you need to get the exit right for the setup for the start of the next one. And I have to say, I'm actually quite impressed, really impressed with the way Phillippi is doing this. He's covering every line that Nicky Team is trying to go for. And off. And in trouble there is Robert Lucas. Damage there to the front and to the side of that car. How did that happen?
There was contact with Kentinish, I think, and they bounced into each other, and that to the front and the radiator. Yes, Kentinish got turned sideways. That's quite a big impact. And then he launches over the curb, so the radiator is down. There's frontal damage. That's going to make the circuit slippery for the leaders on the next lap. Here's another look at it. And through goes Team, round the outside of Phillippi. He's done it at long last. Nicky Team blasts through, and you can't overtake there, allegedly, but he's done it. Nicky Team, fair play, has wriggled his way through. Now, he's off the leash, metaphorically. He's got to make up over 2.5 seconds to Connor de Phillippi. This is lap 6 out of 19, and it was Eng making a tiny error and running wide, and Nicky Team, ever the opportunist, was up the inside and made it stick. Very good move, that.
So, see just how hard Nicky Team was pushing there as the bag stepped out, but ultimate car control there from Nicky Team, and well, as you say, that's somewhere that you can't overtake. Well, actually, that's just been proven wrong.
Fabulous move by Nicky Team. He deserved that. No, I told you a lie. He wasn't 2.5 seconds back. He's 4.1. That's how much time he'd lost in the space of one lap by being stuck behind Phillippi. So now we're going to see how good the reigning Super Cup champion is, as Nicky Team has to hunt down Connor de Phillippi. Phillippi, of course, he's going to try and come back at him. And there's another wave from Phillip there. He's got his teammates at Project 1 stacked up behind him. Muller and then Johnston. Zirkling runs 6th for Conrad. In 7th place is Clement Schmidt, who at the moment is having one of his better showings of the season. And in 8th place is Alex Riveras in the all-blue car there at the very back of the queue, the Attempto Racing entry.
So then the 3 Deutsche Post cars there in a row of Eng, Muller and Sean Johnston. And Muller going to be on the back of Phillip Eng very, very soon. There you can see between Muller and Johnston. Muller P4 and Johnston P5. Then Christopher Sochling, who, of course, has already had a win in the Carrera. A bit of damage there on the front of that car.
Yeah, I was looking at that a lap ago thinking, was that turn 1 or has that happened somewhere else subsequent to the first corner of the first lap that I didn't spot? But either way, Muller's car is coping well with it because it's in a vulnerable area, that near the radiator, but he's got away with it. So Muller is 4th, on target if he stays there for his best finish of the season.
Yes, that would be good. So De Phillippi leading then, and as you mentioned, some 4 seconds up the road is De Phillippi, and Nicky Team got his work cut out now to try and just bring that gap down. So great move from Nicky Team that we saw earlier on. Meantime, we have here Clement Schmidt in the mix, of course, running the same livery as Nicky Team.
The leader has gone by, and the gap, which was 4.1, is 4.4. Nicky Team has done improved sector times. He's done a personal best lap. But Connor de Phillippi, at the moment, is the man on a mission. He leads the way. As Zirkling is under attack. Look, coming down towards turn 1. Clement Schmidt goes up the inside. There's a little nudge. And Schmidt's going to get the drive out of the corner. Zirkling darts off the road to avoid contact. He's back on again.
Zirkling could lose 2 here.
He could, absolutely, because Riveras is the man on the outside at turn 2. Zirkling breaks late, but Riveras has done it round the outside.
Wow, that was incredible, wasn't it? Zirkling there, the Bristol in the UK-based driver, loses 2 places in the space of but a few meters. So Clement Schmidt, who was really, really close to him and again was hounding him, and Riveras was just able to take advantage of that as well.
This was the start of it, up the inside Clement Schmidt, locked up, and there, little nudge, and that forced Zirkling to go wide, just put him slightly off his stride, and Rivera seized the opportunity, and then stood his ground on the outside of the next corner. Daniel Alaman in strife, he gets whacked and turned around. And that was Earl Bamber, wasn't it, recovering from his first corner dramas. And Bamber was 25th, he's now 24th in a rather robust fashion.
Yes. So 4.4 seconds that man has then, and Nicky Team throws absolutely everything at it. But actually, I'm perhaps marginally surprised that Phillip Eng is keeping with him, isn't he?
Yeah, Phillip Eng is only 0.7 of a second back. He's not dropping away. And Nicky Tim's lap times not suggesting that he can do anything about Phillippi. He's not even quicker in sectors at the moment. There is the Class B leader, Rolf Hineiken for Conrad. He was the class winner yesterday. The Swiss driver is very much in the class of Class B at the moment. He's the man to beat there. Great little squabble raging on here as they work their way through turn 13. The Brega car of Fabien Thune is in that mix in 12th spot, heading uphill. Peter Schotthorst also trying to join the party in 14th place in the sister car. Right, 8 laps are done now by the leader. The gap is 4.6 seconds. De Phillippi is continuing to pull away as Jim Pla is under attack. Fabien Thune is behind him. And then it's Robert Renauer behind as they work their way through turn 1.
So we keep our eye on that Fabien Thune there. And Jim Pla, side by side, jolly near. Thune tucks in behind Pla now, but Pla is under some pressure here. And also in the mix is Renauer too, with the Preco livery on the back of that Porsche, as you can see there. Here comes Jim Pla then, and it is the battle for P9. Oh, and out goes Wolf Nathan.
Oh, he did that yesterday, didn't he? The different
Yes.
part of the circuit, but he's back in the race now. Wolf Nathan, one of the Class B drivers, who drops down to 35th place as a result of that.
Many of these drivers combining this with races in other series as well, and Wolf Nathan is one of those who's racing in the GT Masters also. And
Daniel Alleman spins, and Wolf Nathan gets caught up in it. That wasn't really his accident. It was
no,
somebody
it
else's,
wasn't.
which he joined in. Yeah, it's unlucky there because he was on the outside and there was just nothing he could do. Daniel Alleman's second drama of the race.
Saw a little hand gesture there from Mr. Nathan, which suggests that he really want to be involved in that. Okay, as this continues, Jim Pla, again, another one of these drivers that is making that Porsche a little bit wider than it truly is in his defence against Fabien Thune. And of course, whilst that's all going on,
Thune up the inside.
Oh, he's done it.
He's done it. Good move, that. Lined him up nicely, heading uphill. Got the run up the hill, and he's gone past Jim Pla. So Fabien Thune is up now into 9th place, and this would equal his best of the season at Hockenheim Race 2.
and I was going on to say that is Robert Renauer going to take advantage of whatever Thune is able to do? Well, he's certainly not able to at the moment. He's certainly very, very close to Jim Pla, but there's another overtake happening somewhere on this circuit where we didn't expect it.
It's a far livelier race, isn't it, than yesterday? I know that the race leader is up the road and gone, but there's a lot more happening in this race. Maybe it's that race 2 feeling. They know they've got more repair time after this, so they get stuck in a bit more. I also wonder what the track conditions are like today, because there was some rain in the night locally, and I wonder if that hit the circuit as well, whether it's washed away some of the rubber and therefore there's a bit less grip today, and whether that's affecting things for some of the teams. We'll find out how this race may be. Another theory is that the reason Nicky Team is struggling to bring down this gap to Phillippi is that he's worked his tyres so hard early on. They're not actually in the best state anymore.
Yes, and he's certainly not at the moment able to take anything to do for Phillippi. Gap last time around was 4.4.
Mayhem continues. Jochen Habertz loses it at turn 1. That was good avoidance by everybody. I was just waiting for the next crunch.
Beautiful looking car, but he didn't do that very well, did he, Jochen Habertz? So here is Nijken then, and Rolf, who's been regular top the podium for the B category of the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany. And there ahead is the car of Christopher Burkhan, and there you can see Rolf Nijken and Kentonish tucked in behind. Graphics indicate where we're at with De Phillippi now. Well, that's Tim taking a 10th out of that. It's 4.3 now. It's not enough by any means. If it's merely a 10th, then it's Eng, then it's Muller, then it's Johnston, Schmidt, Rivera, Sögling, then he's P8.
Yeah, that 10th doesn't really go in the whoopie-doo column, does it? Because with 8 more laps to run, it just ain't enough. Nicky Team needs to be taking a second a lap out, really, or getting on for a second a lap to have any chance, because even if he catches, we know how difficult it is to overtake, so he's got to get on with this. Bill Barozzetti, the pseudonym Dentist, one of the Class B drivers, continues on his merry way, and he is running in 25th place. Ola Nielsen, incidentally, from the back of the grid, has just got past him, and is making progress up the order as well. And in number 18 there, you can see Christopher Gerhardt, who is to be found in 23rd place. Earl Bamber's progress after his lap 1 dramas are putting him up into 22nd. In fact, now 21st, he takes another place away from Mike Halver coming downhill. So Earl Bamber, the reigning Asian champion, is getting on with the job. far more little battles all the way through the field than we had in yesterday's race. Now, in the first sector of this lap, Nicky Tim is quicker than Connor de Phillippi by 600ths of a second. It's just not enough. And I fear, as I said, the damage was done early on in that drive of Phillippi over using the tyres.
Yes, I think you've called that exactly right. I think he's got nothing left in them to be able to really mount a charge on de Phillippi, who, of course, had the advantage, didn't he, of being able to get up the road, and whilst he was very, very quick, he was able to build that cushion, and that cushion is going to prove just too great, I think, for Nicky Tim to get on terms with. Interesting, as we see one of the Casco team drivers, that's Daniel Alleman, the Just Abrasives logo, Dominic Yost, of course, down the side of the car. I was going on to say that up until now, we've not had too much warning messages with regards to track limits, which was certainly not the case yesterday. So I think they've learned their lesson from yesterday.
I think so, although I'm surprised that we haven't had more, because early in the race when Phillippi was defending, I was surprised how often he was running over white lines, but nothing came. We've only had one report of track limits in the entire race, believe it or not, and that is Antti Burri. It's just happened to him on that last lap. I'm surprised we haven't had more. Another surprise is that all of a sudden, Nicky Tim has done something about the lead gap, but it went from 4.4 down to 3.7. Now, in the first sector of the next lap, he's a fraction slower. Makes me wonder whether it was a little mistake by de Phillippi rather than Nicky Tim's pace.
Yes, I think that perhaps is more likely, because once the tyres have gone off, isn't the right expression, but once they've been used as aggressively as Nicky Tim was having to use them in trying to get past Phillippi, they're not going to suddenly come back again. I mean, or arguably, has he used a period of this race just to try and cool them down a little bit and to bring a little bit more back to them so that he can mount a charge later on in the race when the fuel load, of course, is lower?
It is possible, but the sector times aren't suggesting that, because if he had the tyres coming back to him, he'd have been quicker in the first sector. Now, granted, in the second sector, he is 0.3 faster, so I'm struggling at the moment to get a true pattern of this. Let's see what the lap time is for Nicky Tim. One thing you can't really blame is traffic, as you see the Renault-Pla battle. Robert Renault to go around the outside here. This is the 10th, and Jim Pla makes that car very wide indeed. His track map is a little different from Renault's, because it had a sneaky right in the middle of a long left, didn't it, that corner? Leaders go through, and Connor de Phillippi, 3.7. It's down to 3.3. So Nicky Tim has now done a personal best lap. It suggests that his car is now starting to look quicker once again. Is this too little too late, though?
Well, what have we got? 7 laps left to run here in this second of the two Porsche Carrera Cup races here in the Hungaroring. This tight, twisty, uphill, downhill sectioned track. David and myself did a track walk on Friday, and it's not until you actually do that you realise the elevation changes there are here as the Lechner Racing pit perch there. That camera angle perhaps giving us an example of just how uphill Nicky Tim was at that point. So, and looking over the last 3 laps, well, Nicky Tim is working it now, isn't he?
He is. He's bringing it down. He's not brought it down in the first sector, but maybe it's on this next section, the far section in the middle of the circuit, where he's able to do something. He's got, of course, experience of the car from Super Cup last season. To the eye, the gap is coming down, isn't it? And Nicky Tim hustling on. There's nothing to motivate a driver more than the fact that he can see his opposition getting bigger and bigger ahead, meaning he's getting closer and closer. Not suggesting Nicky Tim wasn't trying hard anyway, but he's going to try doubly hard now. Tyre management in this longer race is still going to be important. But it's early morning, it is not yet 10:15 local time, and therefore it's not that hot. That in turn should help tyre longevity. Middle sector of the lap, he's 0.2 quicker, so he should be nearer come the end of the lap itself.
Well, call it commentator's curse if you like, but having mentioned the track limits, we now see another warning going out, and this time it is for Ilya ARGH, who's been warned about track limits in turn 4. It's turn 4 and turn 11, isn't it, where they run wide. There we can see Rolf and Nykin, but also in there is Michael Muller and the Ilya ARGH car that we were talking about for going over the track limits is under some pressure now from Muller,
who is currently running in 18th place, having been turned around at the first corner. Proof of how difficult it is to get up the order, but Muller is having a good old go at this. They work their way to turn 14. The lead gap, by the way, came down only by a couple of tenths.
Yes, it's not going to be enough, is it? The team will be only hoping to take a little bit more out, but also hoping that Phillippi makes one or two errors along the way.
Ammermuller to the inside. I reckon he's going to leave it late, but he does go up the inside, and he makes that move, and he makes it stick. And there is Earl Bamber charging through on the inside to get ahead of Rolfie Nyken. So you've got two delayed drivers from the first corner. Now, in the case of Ammermuller, 16th, and where's Bamber going to be? 18th as a consequence of that. Can overtake, you can do it cleanly. But this has been a very busy race for them to try and work their way up through the order.
Well, Earl Bamber had a huge lock-up into that overtake move, and I did wonder whether he was going to take a Nyken out there. But in almost a repeat of what happened yesterday, but not to be so. There is a Nyken with Kentonish tucked in behind in car number 6. And Earl Bamber then. And there is the Conrad run. Rolf Nyken car. And what have we got now? 3.1. The gap between Phillippi and Tim right at the front of the pack. There's ARGH. Earl Bamber continuing to be very, very aggressive behind him, isn't he? Filling his mirrors with that car. So next on the target for Earl Bamber. See if he can make it stick and find a way past. And this is a popular place to do it, into that tight right-hander, which is turn 1. So our race leader goes through. There is P2, Nicky Tim. Here comes P3, and the gap does reduce a little bit more. David Anderson, we're down to just 3 seconds. I say just 3 seconds. We're on lap 14 of 19.
Yeah, it's down by a nat semi-crotchet, isn't it? It's just a tenth of a second. Still not enough. And I still feel as well that Phillippi has got the pace. If he needed to go quicker, he could just push on a little bit more. Nicky Tim doing his best. But for Nicky, a second place will be a good result. As again, Renauer goes to the inside of Jim Pla, and somebody ahead has had an enormous lock-up, which I think was Tuna. Renauer has gone through. Tuna gets himself sorted out and carries on. And Robert Renauer is going to be ahead just because he'll have the inside line for the next corner. Jim Pla has a look to the inside. Does he? Another lock-up. Those Michelins on just about every car have taken a real pounding this weekend, haven't they?
Something you said yesterday, they end up coming into the pit lane with the 50p piece
right,
shape,
yes,
don't they?
yes.
Because they've been flat spotted so many times. So Jim Pla then getting Renauer getting past Jim Pla in the end. Then it's taken him a few laps to do that. We did think that Renauer would follow the move that Tuna had made, but wasn't able to do that, and it's taken a little while to get past. But both Jim Pla and Robert Renauer carving out the smoke from the front tyres of those Porsches.
And that's 10th place that has changed. Here's the replay. Renauer drives
Huge lock-up, wasn't it? From
Fabian Tuna ahead of them, and then Renauer thinks that was like fun. I'll lock up as well as he stands on the anchors, ran a bit wide, but in turn claimed the line for the next corner. But Jim Pla, ex-single-seater racer, tried to make a move up on the inside, couldn't quite do it. There's the Tuna car, which is being hunted down by Robert Renauer now, that he's put himself into the top 10. Number 16, which is Marco Klein, former club-level Porsche racer, going pretty strongly at the moment. He's got Peter Schothorst behind him in 13th place. Leaders go through, lead gap goes up. Conor de Phillippi has got this race in his pocket.
I begin to think that he's going to manage this and manage it well, isn't he?
Yes.
To Phillippi, I think you're
Yes.
right. I think he has got a little bit more pace than he needs it. He knows that he's on the charge. He's just going to make Tim work so very hard, isn't he? And by managing it correctly and going just a little bit quicker when he needs to, Phillippi, barring any disaster, has potentially got this in the bag.
Go along with that, and as the race leaders now work lap number 16, it's lower down where the fight's still to be resolved. Here's one. Mikael Ammermuller's dog-eared car goes to the inside of Antti Burri. Up the inside. I have seen more spirited defence of a position than Antti Burri there, but maybe he thought, look, Ammermuller is on a mission. Let him go. And so up the inside and through has gone Mikael Ammermuller. That now puts him up into 15th place. And the bespectacled German driver, ex-single-seater front-runner, hustles on. Burri tries to snap back at his heels, but that's not going to work. Here's the replay, and Ammermuller up the inside. Not sure whether he caught Antti Burri napping, but there was an enormous gap on the inside and almost a handwritten invitation.
It was. Come on through, wasn't it, down there? Okay, so there is Ammermuller then with, as you say, the dog-eared front end of his car following the skirmishes earlier in this race and reaching the closing stages of this second race in the Porsche Carrera Cup here at the Hungaroring. Ammermuller there, and that camera angle gives us the damage at the front there. There's ARGH, there's Rolf Nyken then, who is right at the top of the B category in the Porsche Carrera Cup. The numbers have been reversed in the Carrera Cup this year, where the A category is by far and away the one that has the most numbers in the B category, many less than last year. And there is Tim then, still trying his best. And now the gap is seesawing a little bit, because that time around he's taken a bit out of Connor De Phillippi. The gap now is just down to 2.8. Just 2.8 now, but with 3 laps left to run, unless there is almost a monumental mistake from Connor De Phillippi. Nicky Tim is really going to struggle to get on terms with him. There's Bill Barrasetti, as you can see, another one of those B category drivers who incidentally raced in the A category last year and decided it was just too competitive and has dived back into the B category for season 2014. Here come the 3 Project 1 cars then, all together there. There is Eng, and then it's Muller, then it is Sean Johnston. We see Clement Schmidt and Alex Riberas before this man who's been a winner, Christopher Zurchling, in the Conrad colours. And from Zurchling it is Fabien Tuna and Renaud and Jim Pla, who we saw getting passed by Robert Renaud just a lap or so earlier. So gap come down just a little bit right at the front to 2.8 as Antibury is still being hounded there by Earl Bamber. So Earl Bamber in the number 20 car, and then the dull matte blue finish of the Temto racing car there that you can see of Antibury in car number 99. Interesting, those running double-digit numbers. Michel Gatting, of course, number 77. There's Mikael Ammermuller once again with the damage at the front of that Lechner racing car. And Ammermuller doing his level best to get up the order as best he can following the opening lap nightmare. Beginning to assemble for this big DTM weekend here at the Hungaroring, of which the Porsche Carrera Cup is so often on the undercard. De Phillippi now, and once again Tim has taken another 10th out of it. The gap is down to 2.7 now, but it's all coming a little bit too late because we've just got 2 laps left to run, David.
And so Philippe Eng, who wants points out of this because it's been a pretty torrid time over the last few rounds, didn't finish yesterday. He's going to be good for the podium, but somebody who left Hockenheim looking like a potential champion really does need points. The best news for him is that Earl Bamber is a long way down the order.
Yes.
Engelhardt, after his pit stop, is still in 35th place because he's still trying to catch up to people, never mind overtake them. He lost the best part of a lap. Of course, Earl Bamber down the order, as I say. Christopher Zurchling has not really shone this weekend. He won at Ottersleben, but he's only in 8th place here. He's looked a bit average this weekend, Zurchling.
I just wonder, and I had a conversation with Zurchling at the last round, and he got the call for Ottersleben on the Wednesday.
Right.
It's hardly great preparation, is it? And I wonder if it was a late call to him once again to get him back in the car for this weekend. And, if that was so, you know, is that the right preparation for these drivers? You know, I said to him he couldn't tell me whether he was going to be able to commit to the entire season at that stage, so who knows? And that is something that we will find out ahead of the next round of the Porsche Carrera Cup. Meantime, our race leader, who seems to have it all completely under control, Connor De Phillippi, 2.7-second margin over Nicky Tim. And there he rounds turn 14. There is Nicky Tim, who will be able to see the Connor De Phillippi car ahead of him, but just isn't going to be able to bring that gap down any more than he is much more now, and certainly not enough to get on terms with him in the final stages of this Carrera Cup race here in the Hungaroring. So there, our race leader then dives to that turn 1. Connor De Phillippi, the Forge Racing driver. Here come those 3 Project 1 cars. Enger, Muller and Sean Johnson. Then it's Clement Schmidt, Alex Riberas. And then we see the Zurchling car, and then Fabien Tuna, Renaud, Pla and Klein.
Race leaders then on this final lap. 2.4 seconds is the lead gap. It's come down a little, but still not enough. Connor De Phillippi with everything under control, and Jim Pla continues to come under attack. Peter Schottwurst at the back of this little group, trying to work his way through, but you've got Marco Klein, who is currently ahead of him. So Schottwurst in the blue and yellow car, the back of the pack, needs to find a way through if he can. But the race leader, Connor De Phillippi, is looking very strong indeed. The first win of 2014 is heading his way.
I think you're absolutely right. Connor De Phillippi has managed it perfectly from the start, and a good start from Connor De Phillippi. Made it all count. There's the back marking Wolf Nathan car. We saw Wolf Nathan turned around, getting involved in somebody else's skirmish, which wasn't his.
There's traffic as well just to sort out on this last lap. So Connor de Phillippi, who is set for a maiden victory of the season, working his way then now up towards turn 11, turn 12, that final sequence of corners. He has driven a fabulous race, and he's going to come through victorious, because this is the final lap of race 2 here at the Hungaroring, and Connor de Phillippi accelerates out of the final corner. Checkered flag is at the ready. He will blast over the timing line, and Connor de Phillippi takes a first victory of 2014. He goes back into the lead of the championship. He wins the race from Nicky Team in second place, and then the last place on the podium is going to go the way of Philipp Eng, who I think will just be relieved to get a good haul of points out of this.
Yes, and he needed to do that, didn't he? There's ARGH. Here comes Hungaroring then. Once again for the B category in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. See how spread out these cars are. Huge grid of cars, of course, as we said, just at the start of the race. They get spread out as he heads into the final turn now. Hungaroring then heads towards the checkered flag, and for Conrad Motorsport, it's going to be a yet another podium. Trophy cabinet in the Conrad Motorsport boardroom is a big one, isn't it?
Absolutely right, and Hungaroring continues to prove he's the man to beat in Class B. Here is another of those Class B drivers, but a long way back, Bill Barozzetti, who comes now 29th place, in fact, overall, out of turn 14, up towards the flag. Through he comes, looking for another podium in Class B. Bill Barozzetti, 29th place, he finishes. Well, Connor de Phillippi was last year's rookie champion, and now, I think I'm right in saying, the first outright victory, not just of the season, but of his Carrera Cup campaign, goes his way, and that would make him the first American to win in this championship since Patrick Long getting it 10 years ago. There aren't that many that come and race in Europe, and Patrick Long was one of the last that did and went off to be a Porsche star and raced the V8 supercars in co-driver races. But you know, to have Connor de Phillippi, to have Sean Johnston as Americans in a European one-make sports car GT category, it's a bit unusual, really.
Yes. So we just want Nicky Team go past Connor de Phillippi there, and well, Tim threw everything at it, but I can't help the feeling that the way you called it is absolutely right, in that Tim, having worked so very hard over the opening laps in the early stage of the race, really did blitz those tyres, didn't he? And you know, actually, when it came to it, and when he was into the clean air and had the opportunity to try and chase after Connor de Phillippi, there's kind of no rubber left there for him to do it.
No, I mean, he did a good job to get away from Philipp Eng. We said initially how Eng was staying with Nicky Team. In the end, he dropped away by 6.8 seconds, but Connor de Phillippi, cracking job. First came to Europe when he raced in the Formula Ford Festival and the Walter Hayes Trophy as part of the British journalist Jeremy Shaw's USA Scholarship Programme that would bring drivers each year over to those Formula Ford races. And he did a very good job indeed, and then he went back home and raced in things like Star Mazda and Indy Lights. In recent seasons has turned his attentions to a GT future, and of course GT racing these days is so strong, and I regard this as a GT category. Effectively, I know it's a one-make race, but it's another GT category, because what you learn in this is so valuable for GT3, GTE categories for the future, and an American driver doing well for Porsche is good for the North American market.
Yes.
So you do a good job and get in bed, so to speak, with Porsche, it can do your career no harm at all. Connor de Phillippi, I think, is a man with a good future ahead of him. He was on the podium yesterday, the third, but today he'll be on the very top step, and you can expect one mighty pleased driver, as honours in round 6 of the championship goes to Connor de Phillippi. 6 races, 5 different winners, and this is the latest.
It's extraordinary, isn't it, that to have so many different winners across this Porsche Carrera Cup. It just proves the strength in depth there is in terms of not only just grid numbers, but the driving talent that's out there as well. As we see the result in full, Connor de Phillippi taking the win from Nicky Team, and Philipp Eng, the 1, 2, 3, who we'll see on the podium then. Then it was Sven Muller and Sean Johnston, and I guess P3, P4 and P5 will be regarded as something of a success for the Project One Motorsport team, and the rest of the results there, as you can see up on screen in front of you. Pieter Schothurst then finishing P12 following his daredevil move yesterday. Ole Nielsen then, who had a less than perfect start, having to come from the very back of the pack, having had a problem on the way to the grid, finishes in P21. So podium to come then, and hopefully we'll get to 2 podiums today. We may not, because it's a very tight schedule here at the Hungaroring with a Formula 3 race on its way very, very soon. As we look at some of the highlights, Eng had a terrible start. He really bogged down.
He did. He was sluggish away. He was lucky he didn't lose more. And I'm still surprised, genuinely, that no investigation was done about this, because he's virtually alongside Muller. He's got the line from the... He's got the inside line. He wasn't fully alongside. He wasn't ahead, I'll grant you. But the net result is that 3 cars end up spinning. Eng was lucky to survive that. Was it his fault? Was it one of those things? Well, either way, it led to all sorts of dramas. And Earl Bamber was the one who came off worse, wasn't he, by getting a T-bone as the cars wriggled through. Some teams just can't believe what they're seeing. And that really did play into the hands of Phillippi. See, Eng isn't fully alongside Muller. Muller tried to turn in and take the line from the corner, found Eng alongside him. That was what did for Engelhardt, because he was glanced and had that rear puncture, heading for the pit lane, and others were in strife, weren't they? We had Robert Lucas getting together with Nicholas Kentenich, bouncing over the sausage curve, bodywork flailing as it ripped off the car. He got a big whack, and it looked even more spectacular because he writhed over the curve. Thankfully, didn't wipe out anybody else. I'll tell you what, that was bigger than I gave him. Yeah, to be fair, there was an impact. Lucky was filling when he lands. Alan Nielsen on the first lap as well got biffed out of the way. Been a good weekend for Alan Nielsen. It's a Porsche you can find on eBay tonight, being retrieved by the marshals. And so yesterday's race was the calm before the storm, wasn't it, really? That's been a very lively race indeed. The next stop for the teams will be Hungaroring at the end of June, so there's lots of repair time, and a good job too, because Daniel Alaman involved Nathan with 2 more that got it together.
And Nathan very much the innocent party in that. He's getting called up, but this man didn't put a foot wrong, did he really? Phillippi then. And we'll be enjoying these podium, which will come in just a few moments' time then. And there we can see Conor de Phillippi really enjoying the win.
Great all round. Conor de Phillippi, the Porsche Racing by Porsche Motorsport car, goes back into the lead of the championship. The seesaw season. He's now 2 points. Sorry, he's now a long way clear of Christian Engelhardt. Christian Zerkling third, Tim Bowers, and Philip Eng creeping back into the mix, 6th equal now with Earl Bamber. But that has been a very useful race for Conor de Phillippi, because he's now got that really expensive 18 points heading to Norrisring. So Philip Eng got involved in a drama on the first lap. He worked as hard as he could to get on to second place, but it was not to be. He finishes on the podium. He moves himself back up into 6th place in the championship standings. Again, an average weekend, 1 retirement, 1 third. It's just not being a consistent enough season for the Project 1 driver. And Nicky Tim, likewise, is still hunting for his first Carrera Cup Deutschland victory at 2014. A great move to take 2nd place, and he lost too much time to the race leader by that stage, and there was nothing that he could do. Whereas Conor de Phillippi was the man of the day. Our 5th different winner of season 2014. Of the second, on the top step of the podium.
So big smile, as you would expect, from Conor de Phillippi then, as he's up on the top step. There is Nicky Tim. There, slightly different facial expression to yesterday, Philip Eng, and that's Lambert. So Philip Eng then points the finger in the air, and the tall blonde Nicky Tim alongside. Step on the podium, I realise perhaps either Conor de Phillippi is quite short, Nicky Tim is very tall.
Yes,
because they're almost level now, aren't they?
Exactly, yes. The trophy is about to be presented, and we'll go to Philip Eng first of all as the 3rd placed finisher. He looks mighty relieved, doesn't he, really? Just got some points on the board.
Yesterday,
he was, yes, he was indeed. Nicky Tim will be the next man to receive the trophy for 2nd place. Nicky, of course, is a 2nd generation racer. His father, Kurt Tim, former DTM champion, left the racing team. There to applaud him. But Conor de Phillippi is the man who will take the winner's trophy and very well-deserved Maiden win. Last year's rookie champion could be this year's overall champion. He's going the right way about it.
Yes, he is. Yes, so to Phillippi then, enjoying that success. And rightly so as they move on to the top step of the podium for the photographs. And then the Henkel-Trocken will erupt upon the podium. And it's going to be Nicky Tim who's going to be first with it. Look, before he's even reversed off the podium, he's already spraying it all over the other two. Saying, got to Phillippi saying, look, come on, I want some down here as well. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
His family delighted with that.
Yes.
You see the emotion when the anthem was playing for his dad. And so, Conor de Phillippi, it is the race winner. And I suspect it will not be his only victory of the season. But the Norris Ring comes next, a totally different sort of circuit.
Yes, it is.